2008. He was 83. For us, for what seemed an eternity, the world stopped. There was the inevitable confusion and chaos to be dealt with, and the fog of grief. Nearly a decade crawled by. Once in a while, the topic of the transcripts would come up. Details were hazy. There had been rumors of a bonfire. Stuart, who at 92 was now coming to the end of his own life journey, was desperate to know what happened to them. He wanted them archived, at least for posterity. Before the mystery could be solved, he was gone. We assumed the transcripts were floating around somewhere, or perhaps not. We wanted to see them. Or did we, really? In 2019, we stumbled upon some ancillary interviews in locked file cabinets that had migrated to the damp basement of the family house in Connecticut. Sometime later, our friend, producer Emily Wachtel, found the entirety of our father's transcripts as she was archiving a family storage unit. A cursory peek turned into a year-long reading project, and what was revealed felt raw and personal. 14,000 pages in, she suggested it might be interesting to try to finish what was started. You can read about private jets and red carpets elsewhere. This is definitely not that. Instead, it's sort of a self-dissection, a picking apart of feelings, motives, and motivations, augmented by a Greek chorus of other voices and opinions, relatives, Navy buddies, and fellow artists. One overriding theme is the chronic insecurity which will be familiar to so many artists. Objectivity is fickle. It's difficult for some people to understand, given all that success, how that sense of doubt could be so relentless. Here was someone who suspected himself an imposter, an ordinary man with an extraordinary face and luck on his side, achieving far beyond what he'd set out to do. He always felt it was tenacity, not talent, that saw him through. There were some who dismissed him, but luckily, there were also plenty who recognized something remarkable in him long before he did. And finally, there's the public fairy tale of two Hollywood stars and their blissfully uncomplicated 50-year marriage, which, besides being bogus, seems unfair to anyone, famous or not, who has ever committed to a romantic relationship. Acknowledge that there were two families, half-siblings, and other collateral damage, and suddenly the story becomes far more relatable. The mood in the house was unstable, stormy one minute, joyous the next. The truth ultimately gives more credit to the flesh and blood couple who weathered all of that drama and betrayal and came out on the other side, battle-scarred, but still inexorably intertwined. It's a cliche for fathers of a certain vintage to be distant or unknowable. Ours was the inevitable sequel to his own frustrated father and all the preceding generations that flailed away at parenting with little or no guidance. This book looks backward from a moment in time. To his lasting credit, our father continued to evolve after these interviews were conducted, contributing some of the best of himself, emotionally, artistically, and altruistically, all the way to the end. To suddenly have at our fingertips this encyclopedia of his thoughts and motivations, his conflicts, his context, has been, shall we say, deep. That he speaks about wanting us to know everything is beyond moving. Melissa Newman.
Introduction. Let's see if we can write a first chapter, then try that with a second chapter, then a third, then a fourth, and a fifth. Let's see now, we've got that covered, we've got this covered, we've got the attitude down, the creation, the drinking, and all of the humor, and whatever the morality is. The most ironic thing of all is that one could say at the beginning, like writers do in some biographies, this is the boy who accomplished this and then grew up to be the prime minister. And now we'll go back and look at the details of how that happened. But it turns out that this book is just